It's a very sunny day in Southsea. As you can see, it's really busy. I don't even see all the people behind me on the beach. There's even people swimming, which is crazy for the time of year. I thought it was going to be cold, so I'm actually in jeans and about 4 layers of tops, which is bad news. But we're going to go for a walk today. I've got some things to discuss with you today and hopefully pass a little bit of knowledge. Have you ever noticed that my latest videos always start with people keep asking me these questions and I want to answer them? It's kind of the way I'm approaching these videos at the moment, because I do get a lot of questions, and today I'm going to answer quite a big one actually. You know, it's quite a big question. Okay, let's do this. See you in a bit. Bye. My name is Andy Hornby, photographer and vlogger. 17 years ago I started teaching myself photography. Today I travel the UK as a professional wedding photographer, landscape photographer and filmmaker. Learn from my experiences, my mistakes and my tips and advice. Okay, today I want to talk about the subject of actually planning a photo shoot. 'Cause when I do most of my trips out to somewhere, it's all about the planning, and I spend a lot of time. Some of you have been on my workshops, you know the amount of time I spend on actually using apps and websites and forecasts, all kinds of stuff. So I've got a couple of tips for you today on actually planning a landscape photography trip, which is standing in good stead when you want to start off your day. Getting out the door, you know you've got everything planned, you know where you're going to go and what you're going to do. So today we're going to talk about that. So some of the topics I'm going to talk about today may seem fairly simple and self-explanatory, but it's those things that you tend to forget when you pick up your bag and you just end up going out in the day, and just walking around is sometimes not detrimental to your photography, but without having a clear purpose, sometimes you get lost and end up taking a lot of snapshots, where with these tips you can plan, make sure you get the image that you actually want to get, and know that you're going to get the vision, the story that you want to tell from the photo shoot that you want to do. Let's get on. We're going to walk down the seafront and stop and have a chat every now and again. Head on down towards Southsea Castle. Let's do that. There you go.
Wake up, baby, all the stars are shining bright. Yeah, we should stay up so that we can look at them all night. Just keep holding me, don't let me go. Everything's so magical. All I need is you tonight. If I shut my eyes, keeping the
Okay, so the first one, and quite ironically, the first tip is the weather forecast. And it's ironic because I didn't really check it today to do this video. I'm putting my videos out now on a Sunday, and it's actually Sunday today, so I've got very little time to organise this video. And I need to do another one for next week, so I'm away next weekend. So ironically, the first tip is the weather forecast. How many times have we gone out? We figure the weather's okay, get to where we want to get to, and all of a sudden the heavens have opened up. It's a big deal, and there are plenty of apps out there. Generally, you're going to get like a week's forecast. It's going to give you a sort of good idea. It's not infallible. It's the UK weather is a bit of a nightmare. Potentially around the world, you're going to have the same problem. It's not always going to be accurate. That's the thing. But sometimes, you know, bad weather can be a good thing, especially for landscapes. There's a video I'd like to point you to, if you go onto my YouTube channel and have a look, about actually getting out there just after a storm. Because just after a storm, when everything's wet, and if you're doing landscape stuff, the landscape just completely changes. Potentially you're going to get a better photo shoot. Being in a car or something like that, going out to a location where it's raining or it's been raining and waiting around often or not, is going to work out for you. It's going to be fantastic. So yeah, weather forecast. The weather is the first one. When you're setting up for a shoot outside, you need to know what the weather's doing. You can't take, you know, most of the kit that most of us have out in the pouring rain. It's just not going to work. So that's tip number one. It's a very nice day. I didn't think the weather's going to be that good today, which is why I put loads of layers on and I've had to take them off. So my own first rule I've just broken. Anyway, moving on. We'll go somewhere else and we'll go on to tip two. Okay, tip number 2 is choose the right time of day to go out, and potentially the right time of year, and I'll go into that in a second. The reason why I say choose the right time of day is because I tell everyone, if I'm doing a landscape shot, I don't want to be shooting in the midday sun. You don't light something normally from directly above with really harsh light. You need to diffuse the light. If it's cloudy, that's your natural diffuser right there. It just makes sense. Diffuse your light, even if it's the sun. So if it's not cloudy, you generally won't find me out doing pictures during the day. Unless I absolutely have to. Some workshops I do, I don't have a choice because they're timed, and that's just the way it is. Golden hour is where it's at, and blue hour, and I'll come on to that in a little bit later. So the right times of day are going to be preferable to certain types of photography, and it really will make your photography stand out. If you're going out during the day and it's really harsh sunlight, it's not much good for you. And I also mentioned about the time of year as well, because the sun moves its position throughout the year differently. So when you take a picture of potentially something like the shipwreck in winter, and then you go back in summer, the sun is in a different position. It will set in a different position, and you'll get a completely different shot, massively different. And this is why I go to places like the shipwreck all year round. I take people up there all the time, because I know every time I go up there, it's always going to be a different shot. I'm always going to get a different shot, potentially from slightly different angles, and where the sun sets in that shot is sometimes crucial to get the shot right. And if it's not in the right place, it can potentially ruin the shot. Bear in mind the time of year and the time of day that you're going out. Massive, absolutely massive. Let's move on.
I've been thinking about the good times. I've been sleeping through the long nights. I've been shining in the sunlight. I've been thinking how I'm alright. There's a reason for my feelings. There's a reason why.
You know, number 3 seems like a simple one, but it's really, really important. It's something that I do all the time, and that's be inspired by others, other photographers. It's one thing that we do as humans. We learn from others. We sort of stand on the shoulders of those that went before us, if I can be philosophical, and try and make something a little bit better out of what you've seen. And I say it all the time on my workshops and my photo walks. I live in an area that is saturated with photographers. There's loads, hundreds of photographers, if not thousands, who are all taking pictures of exactly the same thing. Sometimes it's really hard to be inspired by that, but what you can do is up your photography game. Do things like long exposures or panoramas, something slightly different, so you can get something a little bit your own out of what others have already done. And that's what I inspire to do. It's what I've always wanted to teach in my photography, because we can look at a picture that someone else has taken, try and replicate, but the idea is to then take it one step further. So you can be inspired by others, but you know, we're not trying to copy, we're trying to make it our own, make something out of what we've already seen, be recognisable to others for being yours, and putting your own stamp on it. So be inspired by others. Get on things like Instagram, there's Facebook, even Google. If you're going to a location that you know you want to get a picture of a certain thing, Google it. Get some pictures in your mind about where you want to do and what you want to get. And then when you get there, you'll have an idea of what you want and make it your own. And that's the essence of being a landscape photographer, is trying to make something out of pretty much nothing. Like I say, hundreds of people have taken pictures of the bandstand. Hundreds of people have taken pictures of the lighthouse. But I've done it too, and I've kind of made it my own, taking it one step further. And that's what it's about. That's number 3. Let's move on to the next location. And we'll get on to number 4. Let's do this. Number 4 is when you get to a place, wherever your location might be, whether it's the beach or somewhere in Southsea or somewhere in Canada, wherever it is, enjoy it. Don't get there and just start shooting anything. You know, you should have done your planning by this point. That planning may change when you get to the location, so spend a little bit of time, get familiar with your surroundings, and just have a look around and enjoy yourself, more to the point. There's going to be times in landscape photography where you're going to hate being a landscape photographer. It's going to be cold, it's going to be windy, so those little times that you can get, potentially if it's nice weather, somewhere on location, just enjoy it, have a look around. Potentially it will save your SD card, because if you get there to start shooting stuff, you may miss something. You may miss the actual event that you've gone there for, the really good sunset. You may be in the wrong position because you've moved too far away down the coast, or you've moved out the way from whatever side of the mountain you might be taking a picture of. You know, get there early, have a look around, get familiar with the place. It may be something you could give advice on to others later, or potentially give you, if it's your first visit there, give you some ideas about where potentially to go next time. So get there, enjoy the place, get familiar with it, and have a look around. Don't just jump straight in and start shooting. For number 4, make sure you familiarize yourself with the location that you're shooting. It's a big thing. Let's crack on. Next location's quite a way away, so let's do this.
I got this picture in my closet. It's gathering dust right now, and the edges have been folded once or twice. It doesn't look the same no more, 'cause the sun has made it pale. I used to have it hanging on my wall some time ago. A picture of you, a picture of you, a picture of you, a picture of you.
Okay, number 5 is golden hour and blue hour. So people perceive landscape photography as being best at golden hour, and that's brilliant. Golden hour is kind of the de facto rule, but people miss blue hour. Now, what you often find, and I do it myself, is you'll have a whole photo shoot, you'll get all the sunset shots, it'll be absolutely amazing, you'll nail it, you'll pack your bag, you'll walk away. Just as you're walking down the road, you'll look behind you and the sky has just done something incredible, and you've missed it because your gear's already packed away. And I do it all the time. I don't know how many videos I've got on YouTube channel. Have a look back, see where I've packed my stuff up and walking down the road and I've had to get my phone out and gone and put that in the video. And blue hour is a part of the day. It happens before sunrise and after sunset, where you have that sort of 10-minute window where everything is balanced. The whole exposure of your image is balanced without the need of graduated filters or any kind of filter after the fact. The exposure in the sky has come down far enough and it's met the foreground interest, whatever that might be. If it's a cityscape, you've got the lights coming on, so the exposure of the cityscape is being brought up to meet the sky exposure, which is coming down. It kind of meets in the middle, and it happens for about 10 minutes depending on where your composition is. It's called blue hour because it kind of does happen over an hour period, but it starts from one side of the sky over to the next, and it's wherever the sun is setting, blue hour will start on the opposite side of the sky. So where tonight sun's going to set over there, blue hour will start over there, creep across the sky, within an hour it happens over that side. So if your composition is one building or one thing that's potentially just there, that blue hour will take sort of 20 minutes after sunset to hit that composition there, and you've then got about 10 minutes to get that shot. It's a part of the day where photographers miss it all the time. And coming back to what I said earlier on in the video, you're trying to make a composition out of a picture that many other photographers have got already, and you need to make that your own. And blue hour is a good time when other photographers are not shooting because they don't tend to stay out. You get pictures of stuff at blue hour and it'd be massively different to what other people are getting. Good time to shoot. Don't miss blue hour. Golden hour is perfect, but blue hour, in my opinion, is sometimes incredible. And if you miss it, it's gone. That's number 5. We've only got one more. I've ended up here at Victoria Pier in Southsea. It's one of my favourite locations. I shoot this all the time. I try it at blue hour, but one place I do like to shoot at blue hour is Spinnaker Tower, and that's because when the lights come on in Spinnaker Tower and the exposure of the sky comes down to meet it, you've got a 10-minute window to get some absolutely incredible shots. And we're going to go around there in a minute. We'll talk about number 6. Let's go.
I wish you'd stay, but there you go. I have so much I wanna say to you, much I wanna say, but there's no time. We used it all. Still have so much I wanna talk about, but I messed it up and there you go. There you go, walking out that door. so close, close, closer than it felt before. And yeah, I know that I always hurt your feelings. Yeah.
Okay, so number 6 and our final part of today's video is about taking into account location related issues. Now it's quite a big one because if you're shooting on the coastline, you need to be aware of things like the tide. It's not just for your picture, but also for personal safety, because you could be down somewhere like this in front of the Spinnaker Tower and that tide comes in really quick. I know some people who have been round a corner just down here and the tide's coming too quick and I've not been able to get round to the jetty, which is just underneath me just here. So you have to be really careful, so take into account those kind of things. Also, if you're going to a famous landmark or some kind of I don't know, some kind of stately home, depending on the time of year, it might be really packed, so you might have a lot of people to take into account. So you're going to turn up with your tripod, set it down, there's 15 other people there with tripods. Take that into account, go there a little bit later on in the day or go there later on in the year. Take those kind of things into account and you won't go far wrong. They're the kind of basic tips, and they are very basic. Some of these are commonsensical stuff, but there's things that people forget, there's things that I forget, and when people ask me, you know, what's your tips for setting up for landscape photography, these are the 6 very basic tips that I give, and you won't go far wrong. It's all about planning. Plan everything. I plan everything to a T. I've got videos out there on the apps that I use a ton of apps, absolute shed loads. My website currently has my blog stuff on it, so if you want to get some more information about this video, or actually the blog of this topic, actually on my website, I'll leave a link to that down below and I'll put it just here as well, so you can go straight to it and have a look, read up on it again and again, and when in 6 months time when you're going to do a landscape photo shoot, you can come back to it and know it's there, and it'll always be there for you, so the information is always at hand. So I want to thank you for joining me on this. We've travelled quite a way. I live at the other end of Southsea, I've now got to walk all the way back, unfortunately. Exercise, it's all about exercise. You're getting out there and you're going to get some exercise. I want to thank you very much for joining me today. Hopefully you got something out of this video. If you did, whack a thumbs up. I'm always enjoying comments. If you've got any comments or questions, please hit them down below in the comments section. Always answer the questions, even if they're silly sometimes. Leave me a nice comment. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell so you get updates every time I upload a new video. And until the next one, I'll see you soon from Southsea and the Spinnaker Tower. Take it easy, have a good day. See you later, bye.
We're moving through the night like we're from a different star, flying over streets and our broken hearts. But they can't even touch us, we found a different beat. Paradise is waiting and we brought the